Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends, as this video is brought to you by drroto.com.
Man, good Monday afternoon to you, Mr. Emrick. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm excited to talk about some hair.
I love it, man. I mean, us over here at drroto.com, it's been a pretty serious business. We opened the doors about 6 weeks ago, and it's been just balls to the wall for like 6 straight weeks. And I thought maybe we should relax a little and have a little fun today.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, what better topic to talk about when it looks like you need a haircut, I need a haircut. So let's talk about some haircuts,
I dig it. So today we're going to talk about great hair. Do we care? I've highlighted a few players around the NFL that I think have spectacular hair, my friend, and I'm going to lay them out to you. You've not seen this list.
No, you're going to surprise me, and then we're going to talk about some fantasy outlook for the guys too.
Correct. So it's not just about the hair, although that is the main point. So let's just get right into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. Number one on the list, when you're talking about great hair in the NFL, I think you have to go directly to the number one overall pick in the draft this year, Mr. Trevor Lawrence. These golden locks, the baby blues. I mean, this is a good-looking human being right here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of his hair.
Oh, that's so. I mean, this picture, it looks like he could comb it a few more times, but otherwise, I think it's pretty spectacular personally. But let's talk about his performance this week. Obviously, a little disappointing. He threw the ball 51 times, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions. Is this par for the course? I mean, we thought maybe they'd have, a decent game against Houston. Houston didn't look very good to start the year, but man, they looked good against Jacksonville yesterday.
Yeah, from a fantasy perspective, I think that it's good news for Lawrence, just because it seems like they're going to be behind. Their defense looked atrocious against a Tyrod Taylor-led team who he's never done anything to excite me in terms of putting up big numbers. A decent quarterback, a great placeholder, but not a world beater, and that's what they looked like yesterday. So that being said, you're going to get a lot of positive game scripts for Lawrence, where he's going to have to throw the ball a lot, and he's going to get up to this like 300-yard bonus quite frequently. But the fact that they lose, the fact that there's interceptions, should keep his price pretty low for DFS.
Now, in season-long leagues, he did, and I just pulled the numbers briefly. He was QB number 12 yesterday, so he did finish at the bottom end of QB1.
Yeah, I mean, again, when you have a bad team, sometimes these quarterbacks that are going to throw the ball a lot, especially if they get behind him and Zach Wilson, both really didn't look very good yesterday, but very similar kind of end-of-the-day outputs.
All right, well, let's move along to the next person, shall we?
I'm excited.
Oh, I can't wait to show you. Here we go. Oh, Mr. CD Lamb got some rainbow highlights up in those dreads. Absolutely love it. We picked him to do very, very well this year. We thought maybe he would supplant Cooper as the number one target this year. It didn't happen week 1, but he still looked pretty good. He caught 7 of 15, 104 yards and a touchdown. But what I'm seeing here, Chris, a couple of drops. He tied for second most drops in the league last year. It does not seem that he's fixed that problem. Are you worried about the drops in CD Lamb?
No, I think the volume's going to be there. I'm not worried about it. I didn't think that he was going to surpass Cooper, but what I did think, and is the case, is that he's going to be running in the slot. So he's going to draw easier matchups a lot of the times, and he's going to get similar volume. So pretty excited about kind of the best ball teams that I have Mr. CD Lamb on is more than I thought. So my early drafting, I guess I have a ton of them. So I think that he's got a great fantasy outlook, and a game against the Chargers coming up that without Michael Gallup, maybe, you get a little Cedric Wilson, but definitely going to have some CeeDee Lamb, definitely going to have some Amari Cooper. This offense is still going to be a print fest like it was last year.
I love it. Yeah, I think I have him at about 25% ownership in my best ball. So I'm feeling pretty good about him. All right, let's move along. Number 3. Oh, my man, George Kittle. I'm not sure if it's so much great hair. I mean, he's really pulling off that kind of Sons of Anarchy biker look, don't you think?
Yeah. You got the shaved sides, and then you got the long hair on top. I mean, it's I had that haircut. I had that haircut back in 1995 with a little ponytail on the back, 6th grade. I think we took our 6th grade class picture. I was wearing a Ken Griffey Jr. Mariners jersey. I remember it very well. My hair got down to about here. So while I need a haircut now, it's nothing like it was at one point.
I like it. So he was 4 out of 5 for 78 yards. It's obviously a run-heavy team. Ayuk was basically a no-show. Kittle is kind of the guy across the middle. With Mostert's injury, it doesn't really impact him. I think it's literally anybody in that backfield is fine. What are your thoughts on Kittle? How low does he need to get priced for him to be fantasy relevant for you in DFS?
The problem with Kittle, for me in DFS, for me in season long, is that he's going to have games where he just goes off 2 touchdowns. It's just picking that spot because his highs are high, but his lows are not super low, but given his price, that they're super low. So you expect a level of production, but he's not quite that, Travis Kelce. He's not quite the Darren Waller. He's kind of, right a step or 2 below them at his best, but he's just as unproductive as others sometimes based on this team. So you don't see me playing George Kittle very often.
No, I think you need to get him down to be kind of a bottom 10 to 12 price guys before he really is interesting to me. Moving along. Let me get rid of this. Drop this here. Okay, I couldn't find a great picture of their hair, but 2 teammates from LSU who have basically the same haircut, kind of the mini dreads going on, and played in the same game yesterday, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Let's talk a little bit about them. What did you think about these 2 performances and their outlook for the rest of the year?
This game was kind of surprising to me. I certainly didn't expect Cincinnati to keep it close or win. Not super high on them, but Chase had, that fantastic, got open down the field. Burrow, despite, when I down talked him in the morning, was able to connect on that pass. And Jefferson is fine. I mean, he's going to have days where, there are other mouths to feed in that offense, but I still think he ended up with 10 targets. He just didn't end up with a touchdown. And, that's the case up and down the league. There were plenty of guys that yesterday that had good days, but it was just the randomness of a touchdown. If it went to one of their teammates, it would have been a different story.
All right. Keeping right along. Let's get to the next one here. Getting close to my heart here in Detroit. TJ Hawkinson. Interesting game yesterday, really. The Niners looked like they had completely and utterly put the Lions away, and then the Lions kind of crept back in. A lot of garbage time production. Hawkinson himself, with literally no one in that wide receiving core that's going to be steady throughout the year, is probably going to be their number 1 option for the whole year. 8 out of 10, 97 yards, a touchdown. When Goff is throwing the ball 57 times a game, I mean, he's going to get some looks. Yeah,
didn't they run 91 plays or something?
Oh, it's crazy.
That was just a byproduct of the game script. But those are the game scripts you're going to get with Detroit this year. So I think you can reasonably expect some high output in plays, and then, as a result, some garbage time points for TJ. I love him. I think it's great. I just hope he doesn't get too expensive. That being said, probably not running 91 plays too much more in the future, but I do think that they'll get into the 60s, 70s, and sometimes 80s.
Yeah, I don't think Hawkinson is going to be a sneaky play at all year long. I think he's going to get double-digit targets pretty much every single week. Let's move on to another guy right there in Detroit. Man, Jamal Williams just loves to have these games where he continues to be fantasy relevant, especially in DFS play. I mean, this guy absolutely tore it up yesterday. He rushed 9 times for 54 and a touch and caught 8 of 9 targets for another 56 yards. So 110 all-purpose yards and a touchdown. Man, is he relevant in a flex play in season long this year?
I think certain games, but again, this was a byproduct of how many plays there were in this game. And he is going to be a pass catching back, but we saw Swift be utilized almost equally to Jamal. So in that regard, I'm not sure. It's a wait and see. I do have some shares myself. I have some of them in best ball, and I feel good about those because I don't have to worry about whether I should play him, whether I should put him on my bench. If he scores, he scores. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But yeah, I'm on a wait and see approach here.
All right, rookie mistake. I closed the wrong tab. Terrible.
Yeah, that's okay. It's all right.
I know. Just rookie mistake. All right, let's move on to another guy. Amazing head of locks, Mr. Alvin Kamara. He had an okay game. It wasn't great. He didn't catch the ball as much, but they kind of ran away with it. So it was kind of easy to see them move away from him. Are you happy about what you saw out of Kamara and the Jameis Winston-led Saints?
I was really confused because it wasn't the primary game. I was paying more attention to the Browns KC game. I had Red Zone on, and I'm watching it. It's like, man, Jameis Winston has like 4 or 5 touchdowns at this point, but he only has like 130 yards. Like, it was just confusing the entire time to me. And I think they have like 320 total yards of offense. I'm like, how would none of this makes sense to me. But yeah, no, I think his stock is where it needs to be. He's going to be utilized as a bell cow back without Latavius Murray to take some of the stuff away. My worry is still, of course, Taysom Hill comes in for his goal line packages, but Kamara was used just enough. Didn't really get there fantasy-wise for DFS purposes, but he will plenty of times this year.
All right, let's stick in the backfield one more time, my friend, and that is talk about Derrick Henry. Huge letdown for his owners in week 1. Didn't really see that game going completely that way. He did run 17 times, but only 58 yards. Obviously, they abandoned kind of the running game, and they had to.
Yeah, so this is one of those games where what we saw, we're not necessarily – I'm not sure what I saw. Are the Cardinals pass rushers, is that defense, is it going to be something to be reckoned with? Is this Tennessee offensive line really bad? Is it a combination of those two things? And if they fall behind like this, you're going to see a lack of production from Henry. This is not any different than several games last year where they fell behind. They are, Tannehill's prone to have some turnover issues when he's playing poorly. And, if they get out ahead like they did yesterday, or their opponent does rather, they're not going to run the ball a lot. The one thing that kind of was worrisome more so for me was that early goal line stand where he had like 2 runs at the 1, and just as soon as contact was made on the line, like he fell backwards. Like he wasn't running over those guys, whether it was just where his footing was. If it was that situation, I don't know. I guess we're going to wait and see. We're going to find out, but I don't want to say that he's lost a step quite yet, but that's,
we're talking about a guy who had 500 rush attempts his senior year of high school. This guy's been running the tread low for a decade.
Yeah, but let's talk about probably who he's running up against in those high school games.
Sure.
He was probably twice their size. Probably not a big deal.
I like it. All right, man. Well, I know it's not exactly hair, but we can't talk about hair at all without talking about our boy Fitzmagic. What the best beard in the game, I think, personally. But he's out, so I'm not really wanting to talk about Fitzpatrick so much as Tyler Heineke. What do you think about this team moving forward without Fitzpatrick for the next 4 weeks, 6 weeks?
Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't like the outlook for this. Heineke's come in and filled in admirably last season and this season as well. But I think a byproduct of that is teams are not scheming against him. They're not really thinking of it as Heineke. It's not like Fitzmagic is the, world beater, best, awesome quarterback that's going to lead you to a Super Bowl. But from a fantasy relevant standpoint, he definitely can make some of those pieces with his gunslinging attitude come together. I'm probably not playing much of anybody on this team anymore except for Antonio Gibson when the price is right. It sucks because I have a ton of Terry McLaurin in my season longs.
Yeah, definitely hurts the outlook of McLaurin, maybe even Thomas. But we can't talk about great hair at all on this program unless we bring up my man Gardner Minshew II.
Yeah, his fantasy outlook's pretty bad.
Oh, it's not good. But check that look out, though. That's amazing.
Yeah, man. It's a lot of quarterbacks on here.
He's not winning fantasy points, but he's winning fantasy hearts. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think we kind of get what you like. You like the long hair. You're a long hair guy. Almost everybody on this list had long hair.
Absolutely dig it. Is there anybody I was missing, my friend? Anybody that you wanted to call out?
I thought you were going to maybe say Zach Wilson, but I guess his hair is just not long enough for you.
No, it's not long enough for this cut. Maybe next week. Maybe
Fair
next
enough.
week. All right. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in and watching the great hair. Do we care? Look out for a lot more information over at drroto.com. We've got the optimizers, we've got the projections, the rankings, you name it for what sport, we've got it. Chris, I always love seeing you, buddy.
You as well. Have a good one.
All right, buddy. We'll catch you next time around.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well,